Hello and welcome to the Say Yes Movement podcast with Heather and John, where we help you with your professional and personal growth, helping you say yes to all the scary stuff. Hey, Heather, how's it going?
It's going good. Happy Celebration Friday, John. The day that we always look back on the week and celebrate the people around us, the people that support us, our own accomplishments, and of course, everything that happens with our audience. So if you have a celebration, we want to hear you. Put it in the comments. We love Celebration Fridays because this is a process that will activate your brain to continue to look for the things that are going well. So, John, what are you celebrating on this
Oh,
Celebration Friday?
oh my gosh, there's so much stuff this week. This week has been a phenomenal week in terms of getting out there and speaking, getting out there, meeting new clients. What am I celebrating? I know I've talked about this on other episodes too, but just celebrating connection, celebrating being in new places, but also celebrating that I get to do this, right? Like I went on, I was on I was on a drive to Welland, right? Because that's where I was this week. And as I was driving, I remember doing a video back in 2020. And, one of the things I wanted to do was to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to be a full-time coach. I wanted to be somebody who was on the road. Actually, I did a little video where I was drinking a Corona on the beach, and that's where I was coaching people, right? And, what I didn't realize that I actually hit that milestone, maybe not in exactly the same way, but I've been able to teach people from remote places, right? Whether it's here in Ontario, I did it while I was away in Portugal. So the vision that I had for myself has come true. So
Yes.
I'm celebrating that, if you have the vision, the universe kind of conspires on your behalf. And the thing is, it may not look exactly the way you want it to, because, you have a vision. My vision was to be able to coach people and work remotely. And I hit the vision this year.
Yes.
Right? Like I was overseas, I'm in different cities, and I'm still doing the work that I wanted to do, right? And leaving a tenured corporate career to be able to go do that and take that leap, right? And to this week was the realization that I actually hit it, and it
Oh,
was like,
I love that,
wow.
John. And I love your advice, which is don't get attached to,
Mm,
the perfect vision. Just the essence of it. And your brain is always looking for ways to make that happen. And one fun part is when me and my sister we did vision boards one year, and we ended up with a similar house. I think it might have been the same cutout from the same magazine, and we both put it on our vision board, and it was blue, and it was like and we wanted to have a cottage. And of course, what happens when we went out and we looked for a cottage, we didn't find one that looked like that, but we ended up building a shed and a bunkie. And guess what we made it look like? We made it look like our vision board. So we didn't buy the cottage that looked like that, but we built a bunkie, and our brains immediately went to blue siding, white trim. And so your brain will find a way to make it work for you. So I love that, John. And that's the beauty of manifestation. We can do a whole episode on manifestation, but
mhm.
manifestation is visualizing, so your brain has a picture to go after. And then of course you have to take action towards that. You can't just visualize and leave it there. That doesn't work. So I love that celebration, John. And yes, we can do all kinds of things remotely. And the biggest one that I think is amazing is hit our goal of impacting 1 million people. So
Mm.
we're coming up to 2024, John. We're going to have to come up with a bigger goal, which is kind of honestly, I'm not sure I'm ready to say yes to that. It sounds a little
Wow.
scary, but that's what we train, so we got to do it.
I don't think it's a choice, Heather. I don't think it's a
No,
choice.
I
It's
know,
just a way
I
of
know.
being, right?
I'm just honoring that it still scares me. So
Oh
that's
yeah. No,
okay.
listen, absolutely. Like and that's the best part of it, right? Like so, Bob Proctor talks about different levels of goals. You have your A, B, and C type goals. And your C type goal is the goal you don't know how to accomplish. Your goal
Mm,
is, your C type goal is the goal that you have no idea what it's going to take to get there, right? But that's the goal that's going to give you the most growth. It's the goal that's going to really create a whole different life for you, right? And it's going to, because you have to become a different person to become or reach that goal.
that's
So
right.
anyway, we'll step back into this. I want to say good morning, Felicia, and yes, thank you. Write your celebrations down. We want to see your celebrations too. Heather, what are you celebrating this week?
Oh, this week's been a really fantastic week from, connecting with people, but here's what I'm going to celebrate and get really granular with it is I'm going to celebrate me. And I know that might sound a little like odd, but I'm going to celebrate me because coming back from Mongolia, I'll tell you, John, it's been a bit of a landing that's different than any of the other trips I've ever gone before. And we went from a digital detox of 9 days without any, the concept of Mongolia was, all I had to do is wake up and think about shelter, warmth, and food, and then repeat
Mm,
shelter, warmth, and food. And so when I came home, the digital space, internet, TV, news, it was noisy to me and it was overwhelming. And this week I reached out for help. I reached out to a couple of friends, a couple of the other people that had traveled on the same group. And what I learned is I wasn't the only one feeling that way. In fact, everyone was having their own version of that same story. And my inclination, what I wanted to do is just sort of curl up on the couch and just listen to some songs and journal. And that's a great action to take as well, but I knew I needed to not feel alone. And so I reached
mm,
out to the people that had similar experiences to me, and it was immediately fulfilling and reminder that this is just the process. The process of growth, the process of learning about yourself means that you have to go inside in order to serve everyone around you in the best way possible. So don't feel guilty about that. And I was actually feeling kind of guilty that I'd rather go rake some leaves outside than talk to humans. And it's just how I was feeling. And so I'm celebrating the fact that I went and asked for help and connected with people when it wasn't the first step that I wanted to take. And if
yeah.
anyone out there has felt the same, or you're feeling a little blue, the weather's changed, things are going on, and you might be feeling guilty, like, what do I have to feel bad about? Why do I feel like this? This is a normal human experience, and reaching out and telling someone about it sometimes is the only step you need to take to get you to that next level of feeling a little bit different about the situation.
Yeah.
So that's my celebration.
Yeah. No, listen, thank you for sharing that. And, you got to fill up your own cup, right? We're
Yeah.
so busy filling up other people's cups that sometimes we forget to fill our own, right? And I remember having a conversation with somebody sometime. He's like, "Listen, we're givers, right? Like you and I, we're givers. We love to give. We love to like just share what we're going through and the experiences that we're having, but you got to replenish yourself, right? Like, and you know what, going outside raking the leaves, maybe that's the thing for you. If you want extra leaves to rake, by all means, my front yard has a bunch of work
No,
to
now I'm
do.
ready for everybody to come to my house and help me rake leaves. So, oh, the door is open the other way.
But you got to do what you feel is right, and instinctively, and just from an intuition perspective, we know what we need to do for ourselves, right? And sometimes you need to break away to do the thing that you need to do so you can come back fully charged up and fill up your cup. But the other part that you spoke to, which really resonated with me, is we're not alone, right? And I think I've been through it. You've been through it. A lot of it. Some of you that are probably listening right now, you've been through those moments where it's like, I'm doing this by myself.
Mm,
And one of the things that you can do, which is really, really simple, is just reach out and just let somebody know, hey, can we talk? Can we? This is why I love, what we do. When that thought of that person pops into our head, we just reach out to them, right? Like you have that, and I kind of learned that from you. And I've always found that those people are the people that need to hear it the most, right?
yeah. Yeah.
So, even as we're saying this and as we're speaking about this, maybe there's somebody that's popping into your head right now, somebody who you haven't thought about in a long, long time. And maybe now is the ideal time to reach out because they might be in that situation where they need somebody to talk to, right?
100%.
Yeah.
And don't discount, the person. You might not have spoken to them for months and
Hmm.
months and months. In fact, I was unpacking the cottage and there were, pulling the Christmas stuff out, and there's these gnomes that I have that my girlfriend's mom made. And then I remembered that I've been collecting canisters so she can make some more. And so I just texted her, and guess what? She's coming up to the cottage this weekend. So, the
Nice.
connections are right there in front of you, and the universe is nudging you to be proactive, to be active in your own destiny. And it's giving you these nudges, and we ignore so many of them. But when you take that action, you have no idea where it's going to lead to. So I'm excited because I'm going to have some puppy time. She's got a dog. I've got a dog. We're going to do tons of hikes, and it's just going to be enlivening. And we actually activated the love of travel together because she's my girlfriend that back in college I traveled Europe with for 3 months.
Oh,
So,
wow.
this is, so we go right back to as if we're, 20 years old again. So it'll be a youthful experience, reminiscing, but also, getting active and getting outdoors. So this
Yeah.
is what it means when you reach, and listen, just because you reach out to someone doesn't mean that you have to connect or meet or,
Mhm.
that's a lot of pressure for some people. But if that is the right answer, that's how you make it happen. And
Yeah.
I actually hear some of my clients and some of my friends say it's hard to make friends as you get older.
Older.
And what
Yeah.
I would sort of invite is, who are your friends now that you haven't been the best friend to? And when I say best friend, you didn't do anything wrong. You just haven't reached out. You just haven't connected. You haven't sent them a note to say, why they are so special to you. This is what friendship is. And a true friend it's not an easy relationship. You have to
Mhm.
curate it, just like in a actual spousal relationship. You should be dating your spouse, you should be dating your friends, and making sure that there is a mutual connection. And at the same time, John, some of your friends, they shouldn't be your friends anymore.
Yeah. No, 100%. I don't want to go down that path just yet, but so one thing you talked about, and it's a habit I've gotten myself into every once in a while, is just doing gratitude drops, right? So gratitude drops are just sending little messages to people, just saying, "Hey, I'm grateful for having you in my life, and this is the one thing I've taken away from you, and I just want to
Mm.
express my gratitude for that." And what I found through that exercise, and inevitably somebody will write back, "Oh my gosh, how did you know I needed that today?" Right? So you do like, I call them drops because they're just little drops. Like, you throw them out there into the world and then you just leave them, right? Like, you don't wait for a response. It's not like that. And even what you just talked about, where if you're making that connection with somebody, it's not about expecting a response right away. It's just, you're putting it out there and just leaving it out there, and if it comes back, great. And if it doesn't come, like, but in most cases, I would say like 85, at least what I've seen, I'm probably, your numbers are the same, anywhere between 85 and 90% of people will get back to you, and they'll be like, "Wow, how did you know?" You make that recon, and listen, you've got new plans for the weekend that you didn't have planned a week ago because you made that connection. You did a drop. You did a gratitude drop somewhere. Just reaching out to somebody, letting them know that you were thinking about them, right?
I
And
love
it's
I
so
love that
simple.
concept. What the visual that I got as you said gratitude job was like confetti, like choom, like big confetti, like those things that you pop and then the confetti goes everywhere. And how can you not be happy when you have funfetti or confetti falling on your head? So that makes me happy. So I love that concept. And you know what, John, I'm going to take this moment to have some gratitude drops for you because I tell you things all the time, and things come out of my mouth and I have ideas. And what you do so beautifully is you take it and you build it into a workshop or a process, or, okay, this is an NLP process, and you visualize it in a way that I just sort of had this moment. It's just something that I do. And you actually mirror it back to me and show me, hey, this is powerful stuff. And I think we both do that for each other.
Yeah.
But I just want to thank you for that, because that's the crux of this show, is what's going on in our lives, how can we share it so if other people are experiencing it, and how can we show people the process that they can follow to implement it in their lives in the easiest one-step process possible, so they can say yes to their best version of themselves. So thank you, John. I love
Uh,
that about you, and you are an expert at at creating processes out of just ideas that I have.
yeah. Well, listen, you can't see it, but I'm like all red right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm just gonna leave it there. So I'm gonna receive that, and listen, likewise. I'm grateful for the conversations that we have. It's definitely opened me up in a new way, and it's, yeah, like, yeah, I don't know if I would even be here right now. Like, in terms of what I'm doing, the connections and the people, and just even the work I'm doing right now, right? So likewise, Heather, it's been a fun journey. We're just getting started, right? Like, we're just getting
Yes.
started. and creating that impact with the world. And making me blush. I don't know what to say. I'm like lost for words. But
John,
thank
I
you.
have I'll take us in another direction so you can not be
All
so
right, thank
flushed there for a moment.
you.
But I was working with a client last week, and she shared a story that she asked a loved one, and she asked the question, "Are you happy?"
Mm,
And
mm,
the story that came out of it is this loved one is not very vocal. They're an elderly parent, and they she gave a really good answer, which is happiness is what I make of it, and I could choose to be happy or I could choose to not be happy, and I choose to be happy. And
mm,
that message is what I want our listeners to hear for the going into this weekend, because it was just such a loving question to ask. It was a loving answer to give, but I think it's bigger than, that interaction. And if you're listening and I don't usually share coaching client moments, but this question was so profound and
mm,
so impactful. It impacted me. I want it to impact all of us and ask ourselves, are you happy? And of course,
mm.
happiness is a definition that only you can give. And are you choosing happiness in your life? And it's the choice that is the pivotal thing that I want everyone to really reflect on this weekend. Are you choosing happiness?
Yeah. Listen, I love the question. Are you choosing happiness? Wow. That is wow. um, yeah. No, I want to share just a quick moment. I was speaking to a lady from my dentist's office yesterday, actually, and we had a quick little conversation. And like, how are you? Like, when people ask me how I'm doing, I'm like, I'm fantastic, right? They're like, what do you mean? Like, what's wrong with you? How can you be fantastic all the time? So I was speaking to the lady from the office who's calling in to check in with me, and she goes, "How are you doing?" I sound fantastic, and then I ask her, "How are you doing?" She's like, "I'm good," and I'm like, "Wait a minute, are you just good?" She's like, "No, I'm fabulous, but I have to tell people I'm good because that's what they want. Because when I say I'm fabulous, they get all over me. They get like they just jump on top of her and like, why are you always so fabulous?" Because she's choosing to be fabulous,
That's right.
right?
It's
So
a
we
choice.
we had a really good little conversation around, what are you choosing? And she's like, I love to, when I, meet people, she loves the work she does. She's fabulous at it. She's fabulous at it. But she wants to be fabulous. And I'm like, she goes, all day I've been saying I've been fabulous. And people are like, but what's wrong with you? Like, how can you be so fabulous? So she's like, I'm just going to turn myself into not saying I'm fabulous anymore. So, when you asked me, I just said I was good. And I go, her name, I'm not going to say her name, but she said, I changed my response to just good because I didn't want to hear it back from people. And I said, this
Wow.
conversation right now is a reminder that you just need to continue to be you.
Wow, she's dimming her light so other
Right.
people
A
will
hundred
feel a
percent.
certain way. Think about that, dimming your own light so other people won't feel a certain way, as if you're responsible for how they feel. And that's the message that I get out of this, and that's the message I wanna you
Yeah.
are not responsible for anyone else's feelings. You're not out there to hurt someone's feelings, but
Hmm.
you can definitely uplift someone's feelings, but don't dim your light so
Yeah.
that someone else feels a certain way. And when people around you are happy or fabulous or in action mode, it can be a little overwhelming. And I was actually on a call yesterday and someone said she was told she was too happy at work. And then, you know, and I said, so what? So you were told you're too happy at work. So, and what did she do? She did the
You
same
dimmed
thing.
their
She
light.
diminished her
Yeah.
light and she's just not showing up that way at work. And that's going to have an effect on her for a long period. So, people around you are always testing. Is this normal? Are they always like this? And anyone listening to this podcast and knows us personally, this is how me and John talk. Like,
Yeah.
this is how this podcast started. We would do our own coaching sessions and we're like, this is good stuff. We should record this. And then we said, let's make it a podcast. So, yes, this is how we are. But
Yeah.
if you are dimming your light for any person in your vicinity, whether it be at work, in your relationship, with friends, ask yourself why you're doing it. And is it something about your belief system or something about their belief system? And what are you afraid of losing? And that question
Mm,
is going to help you understand why you might be dimming your light, because we can all be fabulous, amazing, really, really powerful, but it is a choice. And it's a choice to be happy. So here's the
right.
call to action for this weekend. What choice are you making to feel a certain way? It can be happy, it can be playful, it can be adventurous, it can be exploratory, it can be curious, but make a choice and add in whatever word makes sense for you. Happy's the easiest one. And that is your call to action for this weekend. I choose, and put your word in there. So, John, I choose happiness, and
Yeah.
I choose some girlfriend giggles this weekend. What do you choose?
I'm choosing service this weekend, right? So this weekend, and I mentioned it on Wednesday, I'm delivering a talk as part of the new Media Horizon Arts program, where it's a give back program for the community, um, specifically in and around seniors, but it's also opening up to other people as well. Yeah, service. Just there's something that lights you up. I had an opportunity on Tuesday night to work with youth, and tomorrow I'm going to be doing communicating with confidence, a public speaking workshop. Yeah, service. It just comes
Love
down to
it.
service and having the opportunity to give back because we have it within us, right? So don't dim your light. What I'm really taking away from this call today is, don't dim your light. Keep shining because that is you. Be your authentic self. And when people think you're too happy or people are like, is he always that positive? She always that positive? Damn right. Yes, I am. And if you don't like it, then maybe I'm not the person for
Yeah.
you. So
Don't
keep
listen to our
shining.
podcast
Keep
then.
shining. Yeah,
Don't be
keep
happy with
shining, keep
us.
shining, keep shining. Thank you for listening in to this episode of the Say Yes Movement podcast. And just remember, when you shift your mindset, you shift your life. Wishing you all a great one. Take care.